Together with the Austrian Alzheimer League, Alzheimer Relatives Austria, and the organizers of the Alzheimer's Day of the city of Vienna, we want to set a mark. A prize is a mark. In the case at hand, the Alois-Alzheimer Prize is a mark to honor excellent achievements in the scientific, personal, or publishing realm, in order to do justice to the people actively involved, to the issue of Alzheimer's in general, and to those being diagnosed with the disease. I would like to ask you now, Ms. Hoppe, to begin with the Laudatio. Yes, indeed, I am a bit nervous. My name is Maria Hoppe, and I was given this opportunity to hold the Laudatio. I'd like to start by introducing three areas. Firstly, Naomi Feil has developed a method which enables us to communicate with the disoriented, that is, with the demented, confused old people, in such a way that both sides can feel at ease. It's not an easy task. Just imagine walking down a street and being addressed by an old woman who is accusing you of having stolen her purse. Give it back at once. That's my purse. Naomi Feil describes four apparent forms of disorientation as demonstrated in the behavior of these elderly people. On the one hand, we have the medical side, which fully explains what it is we're dealing with. However, there's also another side to it. How can we engage with these people in a way that makes them feel good without causing any stress? Just imagine that when you meet an 80-year-old woman looking for her mother, chances are that this mother is no longer among us. So if you tell her your mother isn't alive anymore, the woman goes into even deeper despair. Naomi Feil is here with us. For 17 years, in an accompanying way, if you will, she has gathered her own experiences with old people, noticing what works and what doesn't. It took her all of 17 years to bring herself to go out and tell the world. I have something to offer that would make it easier for you when dealing with confused people. Something to make you feel better, whether you're a relative or a caregiver. For example, a son comes to see his mother in a nursing home, and she doesn't recognize him on that day. He greets her as usual, and she says, "Go away, you have no business being here." The son is annoyed. He doesn't understand. He goes to the head nurse and shouts, "What's wrong with my mother? What have you done to her?" If the staff don't know that his mother has recently been time confused, the son's emotions will be transferred onto them, with everyone getting increasingly more upset, and the whole situation will escalate. However, if the caregivers at the station are familiar with validation, they can answer, "We know that your mother is time confused. Sometimes your mother sees through the eyes of the past. She feels like a 20-year-old. But you yourself, you're 70 years old, so she cannot possibly recognize you. When she looks at you through her inner eyes, she doesn't know who you are." Now the son suddenly realizes what's happening with his mother, and he can start to relax. Which is to say, Naomi Feil has shown us, on the one hand, how to deal with the confused elderly. We can try to accept them as they currently are and treat them with acceptance and empathy. That is the meaning of validation in the broadest sense. Of course, there's much more to it, as it's a method. Yet, when we meet the person where she or he is at that moment, we tell ourselves, and we mentally remind ourselves, that this old person is wise, unique, looking for a way to conclude his or her life with all that has been pushed away and has been repressed. However, this person has a problem with that, doesn't know how to handle it, since every human being is alone in these things. Maybe it would be helpful, even possible, to share it with someone. And Naomi Feil has explained that to us too. We approach these people with a certain attitude. We try to meet them at their level and say, "That's okay. Whatever they do is valid for them." Validation means to declare as valid. And that is an active process on the part of the relatives and the people involved in the larger environment. Sales personnel, bank clerks, so they all also find it easier to handle the situation. In a word, Naomi Feil's method is widely applicable. I'd like also to tell you how much I was moved by Naomi. It was in March of 1989, the first time Naomi came to Europe. Since 1983, she had been traveling a lot within America, in England, the Netherlands, Australia, and other countries. She was born in 1932 and is active to this day. She spends quite some time in Europe. For about 3 months, she is continuously giving lectures, conducting many day-long workshops, meeting with validation teachers. In the meantime, there is an official training for this method in several steps, from validation worker up to a master's qualification. I first met Naomi in 1989 in Vienna, the first time she came to Vienna and also Europe, which is why I am especially happy that today she is awarded the Alois-Alzheimer Prize in Vienna. That completes a 20-year cycle. Together with a social worker, I took part in one of her workshops. We couldn't believe our ears telling each other she's speaking from our very own heart. When I think of it now, I'm still very much moved. Okay, we did realize at that time that there's something to it. She had such a power of conviction. You feel it at once, and it's not just talk. You're aware of it as a human being. That's also what Naomi Feil says, that we have several levels of awareness. We know exactly what's going on. In truth, we cannot really be fooled. Back in our practice, we began to talk about the workshop. I was active in one of the houses of the board of Wiener Pensionistenwohnhäuser. We talked about our experiences, how we felt about the fact that we were confirmed in much of what we already knew, yet without having a system to rely on, a guiding principle, if you will. Naomi has handed us such a guiding principle for how to proceed systematically with a method at hand. How we will become able to manage our own frustrations, to cope with what we're exposed to and resolve it within ourselves. What we're trying to do when communicating with confused persons is to walk in their shoes without throwing them out. We walk by their side. We don't say, "Look here, I know the way." We're literally trying to go next to that person, step by step. We're trying to adjust to their breathing rhythm and so on. There's a quality to it. There are these moments when you click with each other, when you enter a real human relationship. The person feels understood, and for me, it's an aha experience. I've never looked at it that way. I didn't know that about this person. That's what moves and motivates all of us who are working with the method. Naomi, I believe you have well earned this prize, but actually I've already done some thinking about it. You should be awarded a much greater prize. Still, I am absolutely thrilled and I am so happy. Thank you for all I've been allowed to receive from you. It has changed my life. And with that in mind, all of us who have learned from you are trying to support each other. I've just returned from a European convention in Zurich, where the member organizations of different states met and reported on how validation is steadily gaining respect. We're all working on paving the way for adequate financial support for quality communication. Everyone should be able to talk and communicate well with someone, but the present senior citizens care system doesn't pay for it, and I think that ought to be changed. Naomi, you have established the foundation for it, and we thank you so very much. Greeted by strong applause, Naomi Feil comes on stage. She's followed by the camera while she's handed a document. Naomi takes the microphone presented to her by Barbara Stockel, the moderator. Naomi Feil and several of the people responsible for the awarding of the Alzheimer Prize are being photographed. Naomi says thank you and adds, "I'm happy to be the founder of Laudation." The applause rises again and slowly recedes as she says, "I hope that now validation is going to be better understood in Vienna, that every old person who's a little confused, or very much so, can die with dignity. I thank you."
Dankeschön, Naomi.